The Miami Dolphins pick up a couple of players in free agency that I thought were noteworthy of bringing here on to episode 68. Jordan Poyer and Shaq Barrett both signed 1 year deals with the Miami Dolphins. Jordan Poyer, 1 year, $2 million. Shaq Barrett, 1 year, $9 million. And the Miami Dolphins have every chance to improve in the defensive categories as well. They were 7th in rush yards per game last year defensively, 15th in pass yards per game, 22nd in points given up, 10th in yards, 14th in the turnover margin at +2, 16th in interceptions, 7th in forced fumbles, 9th in takeaways, 3rd in sacks. But with all that, they turned around and lost Emmanuel Ogbah in free agency. They lost Xavier Howard. They lost Jerome Baker. They lost Christian Wilkins to the Raiders. And so these guys had to go in and get guys, pull guys from around the league that have been winners at the tops of their position. Jordan Poyer coming from in the division, Shaq Barrett coming from the former Super Bowl winners in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over from the NFC South. And you had to replace these guys. I mean, I kind of like Shaq Barrett over Christian Wilkins. I know Christian Wilkins is a good bit younger, but Shaq Barrett at one point had almost 20 sacks in this league. He led the NFL in sacks. Wasn't much before he came in, but that 1 year that he really popped off with the Bucs and they won the Super Bowl, he was a very pivotal part of that defensive line. Of course, Jerome Baker getting supplemented there. Xavier Howard. I like Jordan Poyer over Xavier Howard. We know that X Howard has fallen off, tremendously over the last few years. We also know there's been injuries involved with him as well. But Jordan Poyer is one of the well-respected NFL safeties. And we saw when he was healthy with the almost said the Chicago Bulls, Lord have mercy, with the Buffalo Bills, him and Micah Hyde were one of the best safety tandems in the NFL. And it really helped Buffalo. We saw Buffalo's defense be at some of the heights over the last few years of that franchise because of guys like Jordan Poyer, because of guys like Micah Hyde, because of guys like Trey White. And we know that, most of those guys aren't there anymore, especially with Trey White and with Jordan Poyer as we're talking about here. You take a look at, Jordan over the years, came into the league in 2013, played with the Browns some, been with the Buffalo Bills ever since the 2017 year, played a stint with the Philadelphia Eagles as well. But Jordan Poyer, 4 picks, no picks last year. We know he, didn't really play his best, but he was available and he did provide for the Buffalo Bills. 4 picks in 2022, 5 picks the year before that, 2 picks the year before that. So, more times than not in a season, he's coming up with multiple turnovers. He's coming up with plays to make on the football. Forced fumble this year, another forced fumble last year. He's not going to be much. That's right here. Here we go. I don't think it's here. I swore I saw it here earlier too. Either way, Jordan Poyer is one of the best safeties in the NFL. And like I said, Shaq Barrett coming in too. Shaq Barrett has been very solid ever since being in the league in 2015 with Denver for the first 4 years and then with Tampa Bay ever since. We know he got the big contract back in 2019 as well after he got those 19 and a half sacks. Had more sacks in that 2019 year than he did in any other season, although he, did miss. He wasn't a big time starter. I mean, Shaq Barrett started, 15 games over the course of 4 years, looks like. And, at 23, 24, 25. And then when he finally got to Tampa in 2019, they moved him to that right outside linebacker. Boom, 19 and a half sacks, 19 tackles for loss, 58 combined tackles, 37 quarterback hits. I mean, the amount of damage. And again, I know we're talking about quite a few years back because he hasn't been much since you go back and look after that, after the 19 and a half season, 8, 10, 3, 4.5 in terms of sacks. So it took him about 3 years in terms of sacks to amount to that 19 and a half that he got. But he is very reputable for pressuring the quarterback as well. 19 pressures last year, 16 pressures a year before in those 3 big time years. 2019, he had 51. 2020, he had 42. 2021, he had 39. And I hated to see Shaq. Well, first of all, as a Saints fan, I'm happy to see him go out of the division because he was always a pest and the Saints always had to make a game plan for Shaq Barrett because that's just, I mean, that's what Shaq required, I mean, he's gonna come in and be a game wrecker. No doubt. He's going to come in and be a game wrecker. He's going to be a hellraiser. He's going to be a playmaker, and guys are going to have to watch out for him. So I thought the Dolphins made two really nice pickups here as they bring in Jordan Poyer and Shaq Barrett in total on a 1-year deal. 11 million on the deals between the two of them, two for Jordan and 9 for Shaq. Just contributors, man, at the end of the day. I'm not saying they're going to be elite. I'm not saying that, I still think Jordan Poyer could be at the tops of his position. And if the Dolphins can utilize Shaq Barrett, right, considering how their defense was last year with seventh in fumbles, ninth in takeaways, third in sacks, you know, um, 10th in yards, seventh in defensive rush yards per game. They're going to improve in those areas, and it's going to be nice to see these two guys be able to contribute.